I just got off the phone with a prospect client, and the issue is one that I've heard a bunch of times. So I'm going to go over it because it happens often enough that it's worth doing an episode on it. And I probably have done episodes on this or similar to this, but it's worth refreshing it. It's worth bringing it up again because it is something that does happen. Most people experience this at some point with a dog, or somebody who has experienced this. It is when your dog or a dog is so attached to the person that they get anxious when the person is not there. This is what we would call either separation anxiety or isolation anxiety. So I made episodes on this. I have, I believe, a 2 or 3 part series on it. So if you dig through the podcast, the files, or the YouTube channel, you probably find it there. But I'm going to do a bit of a more specific, maybe more brief version of those here in this episode, more specific to the conversation I just had. Naturally, I'm not going to bring personal details like the person's name or anything like that, but the case is interesting enough that I'm going to give you some details here. So the client, okay, the prospect client rather, contacted me because the dog that she has the issues with has 2 issues, 2 problems. And these are 2 specific problems that she brought up. The dog has such severe anxiety, okay, when she's not there, that he has busted out of every crate that she has tried, but also he has broken through the window to get to her. That's one issue, is the anxiety. The other issue is aggression. This is a German Shepherd, and the dog gets along fine with her and her children, and gets along fine with the other dogs that live in the house. The dog is fine with people it knows, but it's not fine with people it doesn't know or dogs it doesn't know. So I was talking to her, and as I was talking to her, I asked her, do you get a lot of guests? Does your dog see a lot of people that it doesn't know? And she said, not really. Well, to me, that's a good sign. It's a double-edged sword, and I told her this. Well, I told her, because your dog doesn't see a lot of people, it's a good thing, and it's not so good of a thing at the same time. So why it's not a good thing is because maybe had your dog been exposed to a lot of people, which she doesn't really have that exposure to a lot of people to begin with. So because the dog didn't get a lot of exposure to a lot of people in the growing stages, in the development stages, it naturally only got used to its people. Mom, the 2 human children, the 3 dogs, and that's it. And the off chance that it would see somebody here and there every once in a blue moon, the dog would just get put away. Well, naturally, as you would imagine, this does contribute to the dog not being very, very adaptable to new people, new faces. So that's why it's a bad thing. The good thing about this, about the fact that she doesn't see a lot of people, is she doesn't see a lot of people. It's not like she's seeing somebody new all the time. If she was seeing people constantly, if she had guests. Now, this lady lives out in the country. I'm not sure where you're listening from. You might be listening from an urban area. You might be listening from a city. You might be listening from a rural area. This is more of my local market here. Is a lot of people in rural areas, and that's what this lady has. She has several acres, doesn't really get a lot of visitors, and because of that, she doesn't really have to worry. Now, it is an issue that she did bring up, so I'm not overlooking, I'm not making light of the issue, and I'm not just saying, well, we don't need to worry about it. But as I was talking to her, the pressing issue was the anxiety. And I told her, so I'm imagining that the anxiety is probably the main thing. It's the thing that you deal with every day. To which she agreed to that. She confirmed that. It makes sense, right? You're dealing with the anxiety way more than you're dealing with the aggression with strangers, because you don't get a lot of strangers to begin with. So we made that the priority and the focal point of our conversation. And I told her what I'm about to tell you guys, the audience, the listeners. And that is, and I'm going to give you a couple more details here so you can see the whole spectrum of how this started. What I told her is this: every time this dog was able to break out of a crate, it learned a valuable lesson. Every time a dog breaks out of a crate, it gets massively reinforced for using intensity and force to free himself. So when the dog does that, imagine the lesson that you get. Imagine I put you in a box. And if I put you in a box that is seemingly unescapable, you're not able to get out of it. But by brainstorming and trying and exploring this box that you're in, you are able to manage to get out of it. Well, what did that teach you? That built a lot of confidence in yourself. And so if I put you in another box, you're probably going to go with the previous experience. You're probably going to remember, okay, because a very important association was made. You don't even need to be incredibly smart, which is why I'm making this analogy. Yes, the dog is a different animal. Their brain is different than ours. We rationalize a lot different than they do. We are more developed in the mental capacity than a dog is. But the lesson is the same. So if I put you in another box, and this box is a little bit trickier, possibly, and you go, well, I broke out of the other one. Last one I was able to break out of. I tried, and I was able to do it. Well, if I put you in this other box, and I now go, well, you can't get out of this one, well, you're going to try, and then you're probably going to have difficulty. But you're going to try again. You're going to try, and then you're going to try. And then eventually, right before you give up, you're able to break out of that one. Well, this doesn't just stack the wins on your side. It doesn't just tell you, oh, I just need to use force and I can get out of this. It doesn't just do that. It also adds fuel to your tenacity. It also it adds confidence. It makes you already, it doesn't just make you smarter. It doesn't just make you go, oh, I can get out of this one. I can get out of the next one too. But it actually feeds into your perseverance. Okay, it actually reinforces your perseverance. So now if I get the next box and it's super locked, well, what's going to happen is you're going to do the same thing, because not only do you have 2 previous wins, you actually have a lot more perseverance than you did the first time. And every time this happens, you have a lot more perseverance, and you also have other wins that are compounding, that are increasing your confidence. So this is what happened with this dog. This is what happens with a lot of dogs. When I have people that I talk to and they tell me, oh, man, I've tried all the crate. I've tried this crate and that crate and that crate. I'm already, in my head, I'm already thinking, oh, my God. They have no idea, right? They have no idea. To them, it sounds like, oh, yeah, my dog just breaks out of all different kinds of crates. But in my mind, and in the dog's mind, it's more than that. That dog's perseverance is out of this world. That dog has broken out of a handful of crates. That dog literally thinks he's invincible. Okay? It just, you can't stop it, because in its mind, it's never failed. So it's just a matter of time before he figures it out. So here's what I told her. Look, what we're going to do is we are going to get a crate that is inescapable. You just can't get out of. Now I'm going to give you a couple of crates. I know people do talk about crates a lot, and those of you that love your crates, I'm going to tell you there are some that are just good. Some are amazing, some are really good, some are just not that good, some are just terrible. And then there are some that just they're in a category of their own. I'm going to go over those. The Roughland crates are good. Okay, Roughland crates are good. I've had dogs that are escape artists to a degree. You put them in a Roughland and they do pretty well. I would say a good portion of dogs that maybe have had success getting out of a crate. From my experience, you put them in a Roughland, they do okay. Another crate that is also okay, that is pretty decent actually, is the Dakota 283. Dakota 283, they have a bunch of different crates. They have a crate now that looks very similar to the Roughlands. The material is very similar. It's a hard composite or plastic type material. So it's very very durable plastic or composite. I'm not sure what material it is. And Dakota also has other crates. They have I believe it's called the GL. And so these are also these hard plastic, pretty thick crates. But the problem with those is if you have a dog that has a bit of anxiety, or is an escape artist, they can grab the gate on those. And even though, yes, they're probably not, it's not going to be that easy for them to get out. It is still possible for them to maneuver the latch unless you lock it. But even if you lock it, they could still chip their teeth. If they're tenacious enough, if they're determined enough, they will be able to grab the crate door and then break their teeth. Dakota 283, the brand, also has a crate that I really like, and in my opinion, that one is better than the Roughland, and it's called the Hero Crate. So if you check out the Hero Crate made by Dakota 283, it's a great crate. It's the same very thick composite plastic material, but it's thicker than the other ones. It's actually thicker. Not only that, but the gate itself is very heavy duty. Additionally, that gate, the dog cannot grab like the other gates in the other crates that I mentioned. Okay, the dog cannot, like, physically, the way that metal is, the pattern of the metal in that gate, on that gate, is, it makes it, I'm gonna say, just impossible. And I'm gonna say that because I've had dogs that were incredible escape artists that were in there and just not been able to get out. So that one is one of my favorite crates for escape artists. But the problem with the Hero, it does have a limitation. The Hero crate comes only in one size, which will fit medium to large dogs. But you have a large dog in there, it's too small. So that's the one problem with the Hero crate made by Dakota 283. The Roughland is okay, but I have seen dogs that will chew their way out of a Roughland. So they might not be able to get the door open, but they'll chew their weight out of the side. Because it is a hard plastic, some dogs start picking at the plastic. Okay, and the same thing could be said about some of the other Dakotas. So that is one of the limitations of this hard composite. If you get a dog that is determined enough, it's been reinforced enough, is developed its perseverance, it just might chew its way out. I've seen it happen. There is another crate that it's a very, very popular crate, and I'm gonna go to this one before I go to the one that I recommended this lady. So the one crate, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I have one, I just don't remember the name. Gunner. That's the other one I was thinking about. The Gunner crates are really good crates also. Definitely more on the a little bit more high quality than the Roughland, and probably even a little bit more high quality than the Dakota 283. I have one of those as well. It does have some limitations. Yes, it'll be very difficult for the dog to break out of it. But the plastic, which is a very, very thick plastic, the dog can again chew its way out of. Okay, I've seen it happen. Now the dog would have to work at it for a while before they're able to chew their way out, and you'll definitely be aware of it. But over time, I've also seen dogs that are able to chew their way out of it. Okay, every once in a while, you're gonna see dogs that they've developed this perseverance through breaking out of crates. So I've seen that. Okay, I've seen that happen with the Gunner crates. Now there's a brand that I have one of these as well, and I've recommended it to some clients that have had similar issues, and it's never failed me. And it is made by Impact Dog Crates. To me, in my opinion, I'm not selling these, by the way. Okay, I'm not gonna give you a promo code, nothing. Okay, I'm not getting a commission out of this. I'm just giving you my perspective. I have all of these crates that I'm mentioning. I have all of them, so I'm giving you my honest opinion. I love my Dakota 283s. I think they're great. The Hero crate is amazing, but like I said, it does have a limitation. My Roughland is I like the Roughland. It's lightweight enough, but it's durable and tough enough that it'll do the job. The Gunner is great also, but it's heavy as hell. Like moving this thing, if you want to wash it or clean it or load it up on your truck, it's a job. Okay, it's heavy as hell, and the dog can still break out of. But if I need a reliable anxiety crate, if I need a crate that is inescapable, it, in my opinion, from my experience, I've yet to see a dog break out of an Impact Dog crate. Now, there are going to be people who are going to say, BS, I've seen dogs get out of it. Impact Dog Crates makes a few different types of crates. They make a collapsible crate. They also make a regular crate with just regular bar doors. It's a very good crate, but the dog can still manage to get his teeth around that and definitely hurt itself. But the crate I'm referring to, and the crate that I recommended to this lady, is the high anxiety crate. Okay, it's an anxiety crate, but basically what that means is it's a metal box. Okay, it's got multiple latch points, so it doesn't just have the latch, but it's got multiple areas around the door that you can lock. So that door is not gonna move. That door is just not gonna open. The dog would have to have thumbs on the outside of the crate to be able to escape. So you cannot escape the door. That's impossible. But the other thing that makes this crate great and safe is that the vents are not easy to grab. So the vents are these holes all over the crate and even in the door. So even though the dog's gonna get plenty of air, the dog's gonna get plenty of draft and ventilation, the dog will not be able to sink its teeth from the inside on the vents, because that's a lot of times how dogs break out of the crates. Is they'll put their canines just on the right spots on the vents, and that's when they start digging at the crate from the inside. Well, the Impact Dog crate makes that virtually impossible. So, in my opinion and from my experience, I've had really good experiences with the high anxiety Impact Dog crate. So this is the one I recommended to this lady. Now it is And in my opinion, again, in a category of its own, but it's very expensive. It's over $1,000. So it is price. It is an investment. So what I told this lady is this: look, this dog does not like to be crated. And I asked her, how often do you crate him now? She said, I only crate him when I have to. So she doesn't crate him very often. Real quick, guys, I'm not talking bad about this person. I'm not judging this person. So I don't want it to come across like I'm being condescending at all. Hopefully it doesn't. But I'm just going over because it was a great conversation, and it reminded me of this one particular issue that a lot of dogs have. And so I wanted to share my thoughts on it. But no, this lady is being very responsible. I'm going to tell you how the conversation ended. So she's going to be getting that, right? And I asked her, how often do you crate the dog? She said, only when I have to, right? So she doesn't crate him very often because she is unable to keep him in the crate, right? It's like a ticking time bomb. Every time she gets a crate, it's just a matter of time if it breaks out. So the dog doesn't get that much of a crate routine. Also, the dog, I didn't mention this, the dog was born in her house. She's not a breeder, but there's some circumstances. Somebody dropped a pregnant dog at her house. It was supposed to be temporary. That person never came back. So she ended up dealing with, with this pregnant dog, giving birth to all these puppies. The puppies went home, except for this one. This one she kept. And so now we have a dog that has a puppy. I asked her, did you spend a lot of time with him? She said yes. That's another thing that does contribute to separation anxiety as well. So my recommendation, if you have a young dog, enforce separation. Make them be away from you. Do not carry them everywhere you go. Give them time by themselves. They're not going to want to. They want to be with you. But you must enforce separation. It'll make it less likely for them to develop separation anxiety because you're getting them used to being alone. When they're not used to being alone, and then especially if you mix that with some breeds and some temperaments that are more prone to be needy, forget it. You're going to have a major separation anxiety issue. Now, the separation anxiety could be really bad. In some instances, the separation anxiety is so bad that you do need medical intervention. You do need some medication in some instances. Okay, I'm talking the extreme instances. A lot of people think separation anxiety is extreme already on its own, and it's not. Okay, yes, a lot of dogs don't like to be away from their owners, but there are very varying degrees of that. The dog could be so desperate that it'll start drooling and freaking out and shaking when they don't see their owner. That is really bad. The dog could also be chewing on itself, start chewing its toes. That is really bad. For cases like those, we might need some medical intervention. We might need some medication to take the edge off for us to start working with the dog. But the process, the procedure is still the same. We need to have this dog face in one way or another, whether it's gradually through gradual departures, essentially systematic desensitization, or some counter conditioning process, all the way to flooding, right? And so what that means basically is we'll let the dog know, look, you're going to do it. I know you're not going to like it, but we're going to do it for a period of time. And so that's what we have to do, right? So essentially the conversation went from, I need some training, and the lady did tell me that we went over pricing a little bit, and the lady does have a limited budget for the time being. And so what I suggested to her is, I told her, look, here's what we're going to do. I know the type of crate that you need, and it is a crate that is going to be an investment. So I offered her the following. I said to her, look, save your money for training right now. Get this crate. Okay, and I pointed her towards the high anxiety crate. And I told her, once you get it, okay, once it's en route and you're gonna take delivery of the product of the crate, get back with me. Okay, we'll touch base, and I will go over details. I told her everything in a in a gist what we're gonna do. I told her, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make him be in the crate more often. So it'll be part of his routine. It'll be like a couple of hours in the crate here and there. He's gonna spend some time out with you, hang out with you like normal, and then your timer's gonna go off, and then you're gonna put him in there for like another couple of hours. And we're gonna do that on and off throughout the day. He's gonna spend more time in the crate than he ever has, but it will be in short bursts, in short windows. The reason I'm saying 2 hours is because if we just do, hey, just do 5 minutes, that dog's that dog's intensity is not going to slow down in 5 minutes. Okay. I've done this a bunch of times. Okay. I've done it a bunch of times. So what we're going to do is once she gets the crate, I'm going to help her at no cost. I told her, I'm not going to charge you for this. I want you to be successful. Okay. Once you get the crate, let me know, and then I will help you. Okay. I'm going to basically tell you step by step. I'm going to walk you through how we're going to be doing this. So I'm going to be working with her at first through, to address the crate issue, because he doesn't like to be crated, and is a major part of the problems that she's having. And once we get that a little bit under control, then I will help her with the other stuff, with the aggression. By then, the training will be a little bit more formal. For now, I'm just essentially just helping her because I want her to be successful. Because she told me that she's basically at her wit's end. The dog is possibly going to get rehomed because of this issue that he has. So this is why we're going to go this route. And I like helping people. I want her to do well. I understand how difficult it is to deal with a dog that you love, because he's a really good dog otherwise. But then they have this one issue that makes it very difficult to live with. So that's what the episode's about. And you guys, if you liked it, share it with somebody else. If you're watching or listening to this on YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll make an episode on your topic to the best of my ability.